He came to the hospital with a pain that felt like fire in his chest, the kind that makes every single breath a struggle. The waiting room was half empty, the fluorescent lights humming above him. He clutched his chest and whispered, "Please, I just need help." But what he didn't know was that this hospital visit would turn into a nightmare, a moment that would expose just how deep prejudice can still run in the very places meant to save our lives. Marcus Hall was 42 years old, a father of two and a veteran who had served his country for over a decade. He wasn't looking for sympathy, he was looking for care. He worked long hours as a mechanic in his small town and rarely took a sick day. But when the pain started that morning, radiating down his arm, he knew something was terribly wrong. His wife begged him to go to the hospital, and reluctantly he did. He believed that once he got there, things would be fine. After all, hospitals save people, don't they? The nurse at the front desk checked him in, her voice polite but distant. "Take a seat. The doctor will see you soon." He nodded, grateful just to be inside. Minutes turned into half an hour. His breathing grew shallow. A couple of patients who had arrived after him were already being called back. He tried to stay calm, telling himself it was just a busy shift. But then he overheard a nurse quietly say, "Dr. Reynolds is refusing to see him," and everything inside him froze. Thought he'd misheard. Refusing? Why? His records were clean. His insurance was valid. But as whispers started to ripple through the hallway, the truth became horrifyingly clear. Dr. Reynolds had looked at the intake sheet, seen the name, and reportedly said, "Not dealing with him. Find someone else." There was no medical reason. No emergency conflict. Just bias, raw, ugly, and unapologetic. Marcus felt his stomach drop. The pain in his chest was now mixed with utter disbelief. Was this really happening? In 2024, in a hospital, in front of people? He looked at the nurse, who quickly avoided his eyes. Could hear someone in the back say, "We can't force him." The room suddenly felt colder. In his situation, minutes mattered, but prejudice didn't seem to care. He sat there, clutching his arm, feeling smaller and more invisible by the second. Eventually, another doctor, shocked by what was happening, stepped in and treated him. The diagnosis was chilling. He had been on the verge of a massive heart attack. A few more minutes of waiting, and it might have been too late. He survived. But the pain that lingered wasn't just physical, it was something deeper, a wound that couldn't be healed with medicine. News of what happened spread quietly at first. A nurse who had witnessed the exchange couldn't stay silent. She filed a report with hospital administration detailing what Dr. Reynolds had said and done. The administration's first reaction was an outrage, was silence. They wanted it to disappear. They told her to keep it internal. Marcus didn't even know a complaint had been made. Weeks passed. He was home, recovering, but he felt restless. Something inside him couldn't let go. Every time he looked at his children, he wondered what message he was sending if he stayed quiet. He had served his country just to come back home and be treated like he did and deserved to live. So he started asking questions. He sent letters, called the hospital, and demanded to know why a doctor had refused him service. The responses were vague, corporate speak. "We're looking into it. We're reviewing our protocols." But then one day an envelope arrived not from the hospital, but from the state medical board. Someone had filed a formal complaint. The nurse's report had reached the right hands. And now the truth was finally coming to light. An official investigation was launched. Witnesses were interviewed. Security footage was reviewed. And slowly, the story unfolded in painful, undeniable clarity. It turned out Dr. Reynolds had a pattern subtle, but undeniable. There were past complaints from minority patients. Notes in their files of noncompliance and difficult behavior that, when you read between the lines, revealed something far worse than bad bedside manners. They revealed a deep-seated bias dressed up as professionalism. When Marcus was called in to testify, he didn't prepare a speech. He just told his truth. He described the look in the nurse's eyes when she couldn't achieve, meet his gaze the way the doctor walked past him as if he was not there. The cold fear that crept in when his chest tightened, wondering if that was how his story would end, in a waiting room completely ignored. The hearing was tense. Dr. Reynolds denied the accusations, calling it all a misunderstanding, but the evidence was overwhelming the records. The witnesses, even staff messages confirming what had happened that day. When the verdict came, the silence in the room was heavy. The medical board found him guilty of professional misconduct and racial discrimination. His license was suspended, and he would never practice medicine again. For Marcus, it wasn't about revenge. It was about justice. But even justice felt incomplete. And until stories like his stop happening, the question remains, how many more times will it take before justice isn't something we have to fight for, but something we all live by? Thank you so much for watching. If this story moved you, please share it to spread awareness. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories that matter. See you next time.